What's up, y'all? We're back with our third season preview. This time we're gonna be doing the Central Division. And next I think we're gonna do whatever division of Thunder, and we're gonna have a Thunder beat reporter up here. You guys might know him because he's been on our channel before. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing Central Division today. That's the Cavs, Bucks, Bulls, Pacers, and Pistons. Before we even get started, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and follow our social medias on the top right there. We've seen some growth. I've been liking like a lot of the feedback we've been getting on videos and in comments stuff like that. Um, but it's only gonna be me and Q today. Jaden is working a football game at school, and Max is with his family. So we do have to get these out. So we're gonna be pushing these season previews out because the season is like 10 days away now. We still got to do predictions, standings, awards, all that stuff, and we're probably gonna try to group that into probably one or two episodes before the season come out. Before the season starts. Preseason has kicked off. It's like 3 or 4 games to that, so we're gonna be pushing this NBA content out. We did not forget the NFL. We're gonna be recording another NFL podcast on Tuesday after everything wraps up, or Monday, depending on the Monday Night Football game. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot more content out. We're gonna be very, very consistent. But let's get straight to it. We're gonna start off with the Bucks. So, like every other season preview, we can do additions, losses, major storylines, and then predict their over under win total along with a breakout player. Now, this is probably one of the most talked about teams so far this offseason. We know what Giannis was doing. We heard him in the media talking every time we saw Giannis on the mic, he was hinting towards a possible exit from Milwaukee if the front office did not um, prioritize winning. If the players weren't prioritizing winning, if the situation wasn't prioritized winning, he was saying it was a possibility that he may depart. And what did they do? They went and got Damian Lillard. So that's all you can ask from front office. And now it's on Giannis, it's on Dame to step up. This is the first time we've really seen Dame with expectations of you need to go win the finals. You need to play well past the first round. You need to go ball out. So it's gonna be a lot of expectations on this Milwaukee team coming into the season. Let's go through some of their additions. Obviously Damian Lillard, but they also got Malik Beasley, who can come in and be a knockdown shooter. Not knockdown shooter. He's kind of streaky, but he can shoot the ball. Can't really defend, but that's gonna be one of the biggest things we talk about when we preview this team. Yeah, also got Andre Jackson in the draft, who I like. He's a versatile player. 50-50 guy. He's gonna get on the ground and all that. They got Cameron Payne to have it as a backup point guard, which I think is a weakness. Their bench play is going to be one of their biggest weaknesses, but come playoff time, I don't know how big of a factor it's going to be. And then obviously they lost Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen, which they really didn't lose much, especially for what they brought in. But I'm gonna go to Q. Like, what do you think of their additions and losses?
It kind of like what they lost and what they got back, it kind of offset each other because whatever you lost in defense from Drew Holiday, like I said before, last time we talked about the Bucks, they gained, exponentially on offense with Damian Lillard. You could run a Damian Lillard, centric offense basically through the whole season and basically coast to the playoffs. Grayson Allen, that loss doesn't really matter to me because, like you said, you brought in Malik Beasley. He that last show in the Lakers, he wasn't hitting nothing, but based on history, we know he can hit threes. He can come in and shoot. He's not a defender, but I mean, Adrian Griffin talking about he gonna take on best assignments. We'll see. He's not. Cameron Payne, backup point guard. I mean, who was their backup point guard last year? Like Cameron Payne, he's been in high leverage moments in the playoffs before. Whether he played good or bad, he's been there before. He has experience. He has finals experience against the same team actually. Like you said, Andre Jackson, big enough, guard wing, get on the ground, do a lot of stuff that Grayson Allen would do. So I think they're still pretty good. Like the bench is an issue, but like you said, the playoffs, they're only going probably 8 deep. And as long as you got Bobby Portis, one of those starters out there, and let's say Cameron Payne and or Beasley, you should be fine. This team, their conference finals are bust. Like they gotta at least make the conference finals. Most would say they gotta at least make the finals, but I'm gonna make it easy for them. Dame, we're talking about people running from the grind. The grind is the grind right here. You got real expectations. You see what you could do with a bona fide top 3 player. Now you're the second option. It's a little bit less pressure for you, but you would think so. But it's a lot of pressure for them because this is what he wanted. Maybe not this team, but he just wanted this type of environment. You got to go out there and show it. That's what we're waiting for now.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing with this team, now I predicted them, as soon as the Dame trade dropped, I was proactive in predicting them to win the championship. We obviously saw what the Celtics did, but they obviously going to be one of the favorites in the entire NBA. I think their major concerns is going to be perimeter defense. So they traded Drew Holiday, who is arguably one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, especially at the guard spot, at getting around screens, at guarding ISO, at chasing. He's one of the best off-ball chasers. I mean, on-ball chasers in the NBA. And then they traded out with Dame. So their biggest problem last year, honestly, was half-court offense. Their half-court offense wasn't good, especially come playoff time, because you have Giannis, who has limitations in the half-court offense, and you have Drew Holiday, who every single time he touches the playoffs is abysmal. And not saying it lightly. He's really bad in the playoffs over the last 3 seasons. So you come in, you get Dame, who's going to be he's one of the best half-court players in the NBA. He's one of the best pick-and-roll players in the NBA. And so I see the change I think we're going to see, like I keep saying this over and over again, if Giannis can buy into this role of being a screener and then be the primary pick-and-roll partner for Damian Lillard, it's going to unlock him. It's going to unlock their offense. They got Adrian Griffin from Toronto coming in his first year. I think that's a major storyline that we probably should talk about. He's more of a developmental coach, but I think he's more defensive minded.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's gonna be able to get out of them, but I think the defense is gonna be fine in the regular season for sure. Now, when you have Giannis and you have Brook Lopez, you can just funnel everything to the paint. Like, just don't let. Historically, the Bucks have been, we're gonna let you shoot threes. We're gonna let you shoot a lot of threes. We're gonna pack the paint, and let you shoot a lot of threes. If they flip that and try to just focus on perimeter, guard the 3-point line, and then having everything funneled to Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's one of the best defensive front courts in the NBA, I think they could do benefits for them, especially in the regular season. Now, when it comes playoff time, that's when it's gonna be time for Giannis to step up. We've seen in the past he locked down Jimmy Butler, but last year he let Drew Holiday die. The team let Drew Holiday die. They didn't change that because when they see the Celtics specifically, like I don't think they're gonna have any issues really until they see the Celtics on the perimeter, because they have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who are two of the best perimeter players in the NBA. That's when Giannis is gonna have to step up and probably see Jason Tatum. They're gonna have to go big with a lineup with Bobby Portis possibly in that lineup as well. Still, I think they should funnel everything to the paint because that's where they're strongest at. But we got to see a big jump for Giannis on defense come playoff time. I think I'm anticipating that. That was really the major storylines. Adrian Griffin got hired, and then the front office responding to Giannis. I think that was the best example we've ever seen from a front office responding to their player. Outside of like LeBron last year, because when LeBron was complaining last year, that we flipped the whole team, and we made a playoff push. But how big of a problem do you think perimeter defense is going to be for this team?
I said it before when we talked about it. Like, I don't perimeter defense, like specifically at point guard, is not like the most valuable thing out there, especially if you have two basically 7-footers down there that can protect the rim. Protecting the rim is the most valuable defensive thing you can do on the court. Like you said, you funnel everything to the paint and force everybody either get a mid range up, which is actually a hard shot to get unless you're like one of the premier mid range scorers. There's only about 8 of them in the league, really. A tough mid range shot, 9 times 10 is gonna miss. Or try your luck at the rim with Brook Lopez and Giannis, one of the 2 best shot blockers in the league. That provides extra possessions, alternate shots, extra rebounds, getting into those 7-footers, and you're out on a break. You got Dame at the top, everything fast break. I think they're just them funneling everything to the paint allows them to get more opportunities on offense, because they're just gonna get their shot blocked or sent away. I mean, there's people are gonna be able to score, but not like as much as you would think. Like, it's not gonna be an easier thing because Dame is out there. You're just gonna be forced to try to take him off the dribble, take him to the paint, which you're probably gonna be able to do, and you're just gonna see Giannis or Brook. So you're picking your spots. The Bucks have a formula, or they should have a formula based on the personnel that should allow them to still be a top 10-ish type defense.
Yeah, last year they were a top 5 defense. Like we said, the biggest struggle was their half-court offense. I think they were like damn near a middle of the pack offense. Their offensive rating last year was 114.9. That's not middle of the pack. That's probably like, let's see. No, it is middle of the pack. They were like, so you got Sacramento, Boston, Philly, New York, Denver, Dallas, Atlanta, Cleveland, Golden State, Utah. Toronto was a better offense than them. Brooklyn was a better offense than them. They were like yeah, like middle of the pack of offensively, just because of their half court offense not being that good. They were great in transition and stuff like that, but I think Dame is going to flip that. They're going to be probably a top 10, top 7 offense, and I can see their defense fall into around like top 10, like you said. So I think like while we've been talking about additions, losses, the addition of Dame Lillard is going to drastically change where they are. But we can get to their breakout players. It's not too. We talked about the Bucks when they really made their trade, so we don't want to harbor too long on them. We have other teams to talk about. Breakout player, I'm gonna go Marjon Beauchamp. I mean, they don't have many contenders for this. Maybe Andre Jackson, you can see breaking down and having an integral role, but Marjon Beauchamp, I think he's gonna be able to off the bench come in and score, get out in transition, and get easy buckets. He just doesn't have like. I mean, I guess they have Cameron Payne as his primary created on the second unit is a concern. I don't know if he's gonna be able to create for him, but he'll have plenty of opportunity. I think if he can take a step defensively, that's gonna help him as well. Try to be like a solid wing defender. It's gonna all be about effort for him. So they don't have many breakout player candidates, but if it's gonna be anybody, it's gonna be Marjon Beauchamp.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, they don't have a lot. This is really just an older team, aside from Marjon and Andre, but you're not going to rely too heavily on those two. They're young, but like you said, if anybody should be Marjon, because he should be able to come in and in this type of scheme, he should look as a plus on defense. He just has to hit open shots, indoor transition opportunities, just be able to try to get a bucket when needed, try to get a stop, or just make it tough for players. He should see a lot of minutes. Like, I know Pat Connaughton is still there, but you can look to try to move off Pat if Marjon looks good the first 2 months of the season. So, yeah, I got Marjon also.
All right, and over under win total, I believe, is at 54? 54.5.
They should get the over on that.
I agree. They should also get the over. They should get the over. They got better.
Yeah,
they got better. Last year they won. Yeah, last year they won 58 games. They're gonna be better. I don't think, like we said, I don't think the drop off on defense is gonna be too drastic to have them losing a lot more games. But no, they're definitely gonna hit the over on that. And so that's our first team. Next, we can move on to the Cavs, who I know we are both fans of. We follow the Cavs a lot. They had an okay offseason. I think it was all right. I mean, they got let's talk about additions. They got Max Strus, Jordan Niang, Imani Bates. They also re-signed Caris LeVert. They lost. The only thing they really lost is Danny Green, who was coming off an injury, who was okay for them in his time being there, but he didn't play a lot of the season. What do you think about the additions? Max Strus, George Niang, and they got Imani Bates as well in the draft.
They fill position /skill set of need. They need a shooting. Clearly, in the playoffs, they need a shooting. They didn't have shooting on the wing. Max Strus is not I want to say he's the most reliable shooter, but he can shoot. We know that. George Niang, he also can shoot. He's not a defender really, but he can shoot. They don't really need a lot of defense because they was harboring the top 10 defense with just Evan Mobley and Jared Allen back there. Imani Bates, that's more of a flyer pick. He's more named than really play on the court because his play style is just dumb shots. I mean, he looked okay, but I mean, how long is that going to last? He hasn't really seen a lot of real NBA time and a lot of NBA minutes. But this is another team that probably coast through the regular season based on what they had and probably still get 45 plus wins. They have a lot of expectations. Like, they had expectations last year. It's a lot on Donovan Mitchell, really. Like, that's the real story. Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and it's a lot tied to money, really. Money and expectation. Like, that's what we're looking for the Cavs. The Cavs got to be at least a second round team. And they got to look at this Donovan Mitchell contract. Like, maybe they don't need to make a big leap this year, but it's money that's really the issue with this team for me. But the additions were nice. They got what they needed. So we're just gonna see how that works through the season.
So they got Max Strus, George Niang, two shooters. I think Max Strus is really, really streaky. Really, really streaky. And especially come playoff time, he's been hit or miss a lot. George Niang is George Niang. Imani Bates has looked good so far in the preseason, but I don't think he's gonna have like a special role in this season, especially with Caris LeVert being there as a backup. They also he's on a 2-way contract as well. Lost Danny Green, who I don't think is a big loss. Let's talk major storylines. Evan Mobley, it's time for him to break out. If this team is looking to unlock their ceiling, especially in this top-heavy East, they need Evan Mobley to break out and become better offensively. We know he is on the defense end. He is a generational defender. He's one of the best defenders in the NBA right now. But I don't think he's going to break out until they trade Jared Allen. And that's a topic that people have been talking about for a little bit over a season now. Jared Allen is an all-star level player. He's a good player, probably a top 6 center in the NBA. But this team, I think, personally, just needs to move off him and try to put Evan Mobley at a center spot or get a center that can stretch the floor. Now, Evan Mobley's probably going to have to beef up. He's still pretty skinny. And to guard centers full-time, he's going to need to beef up a little bit. But this team, I don't think the defensive drop-off is going to be that crazy. This was the highest ranked team as far as defensive rating last year. But when you go to pace, like their pace, they're at the bottom of the league. They're a very, very slow team. They were the last in the league last year in pace. So they need to move off of like Jared Allen for that reason. Like I think Evan Mobley is more prone to running the floor. Jared Allen having 2 centers like that on your offense slows it down, and then you see they have 2 crazy pick and roll players and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, which also slows the offense down, which is good for playoff time, but you just need Evan Mobley to break out right now because we saw in the playoffs you have to rely on Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. I mean not Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell primarily for an offense. Just like that was literally the only 2 scoring options. You need Evan Mobley to develop some type of hook, some type of mid-range game, some type of face-up game, something. He doesn't have any of that right now. All Evan Mobley is right now.
I must say it's not really about the points per game aspect. It's about how he's getting the points. Like it's like what he's doing to get the points that's really gonna matter. Because he could be 18 points per game and it's still off tip-ins and dunks. He needs to like you say, get a skill set that he can use, he could go to, and really make the defense work on the other side. Because like you said, it's not the team construct with him and Allen. Like it's good defensively, but that's a regular season thing. They do need that floor spacer probably at the 5 instead of because you could probably still run Evan Mobley at the 4 if you had that 5, like a Miles Turner type 5 who could stand out there, shoot threes, and not really get in his way. Because then you could just run a pick and roll between him and Donovan or him and Darius. And now they got 2 shooters on the outside. They could just, when things get sticky, they could kick it out, hopefully to get a shot.
Yeah, so it's like you said, it's not even about his points. Like it just like it can take off the pressure from Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland come playoff time. If he can have a go-to shot, a go-to move to go get a bucket. It's like all of his points, I think like about 75% of his points is assisted on. It's in the pick and roll, or it's a putback, or it's like a last second. Like I don't know. He don't have anything. Like he really can't really stretch the floor. He doesn't like his handle is good for his size, I guess. But like I guess he's a good passer. Like he doesn't nothing he does on offense really stands out to me. We are going to year 3. He's still young, so he has time to improve. But some people were comparing him to Kevin Garnett and other players like that coming out of college. Like, and they thought his offensive skill set could be that.
He kind of has the ceiling, like he kind of has that type of ceiling, but that's based off strictly like what we know he is on defense. Because Kevin Garnett is probably one of the best defenders of all time, in my opinion. Offensively, we've seen that he's hit mid ranges before. He just has to hit those 17 footers consistently. Because he doesn't need to be a great 3-point shooter. He just needs to hit that 17 to 22 foot, mid-range jump shot, that elbow jump shot. He needs to get a little post game, a little turnaround, something that he could just like when things get sticky, you could throw it down to him. Either he's gonna get fouled or he's gonna get a bucket. Kevin Garnett was he had a great 17 footer in the mid-range. He was, pretty much like your food. Like he has a lot riding this year, especially like it's almost that time when you have to pay him. So everything to me is just it's money. It's money and getting better. Like I don't even need him to make a big playoff run. I just need him to get better.
They definitely not lose the first round. Last season was a major disappointment. And I think you have to like try to second round and make it a 7-game series, second or push it to the East Conference Finals somehow. Because we're gonna talk about this later, but Donovan Mitchell is say he's probably not resigning. So that's a major concern, especially with all the draft assets you get for him. And so that might come back and bite them. But yeah, Evan Mobley was 39% from the mid-range last year on 1 attempt. So that's not very good at all. So he needs to go ahead and develop that. But let's talk Donovan Mitchell because they did give up a lot. They gave up a lot to trade for him. And would you do it again? Would you do it again?
Me personally, I wouldn't do it again because now, based on hindsight, or just strictly on hindsight, I wouldn't have done it again because I've seen Lowry. If they used him right, they probably could have kept Lowry. He probably wouldn't have been an all-star, but he's still a shooter. And that probably could have been the person you paired next to Evan Mobley instead of having Jared Allen. Because that worked in tandem. He was a 24 point per game guy, and he wasn't like a primary ball handler. Like he wasn't handling the ball in Utah. So that works with Darius Garland. That works with Evan Mobley. They would have the assets to go out and get somebody else of need, like at wing, because I think they didn't need to go get another guard. I think they need to go get a wing or like a stretch five type of player. They have the opportunity to try and maybe go get another one, but they just lost a lot of assets and they lost a good player in Lauri Markkanen to get Donovan Mitchell for him to potentially not resign. And I guess that's the business of the NBA, but just strictly on hindsight, there were other moves to make. There was other players to go after, especially at position of need. Now you got a small backcourt, and the defense relies on Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And I think you could have got better in certain spots.
I think that's a great point. I mean, it's obviously hindsight, but we're not expecting Lauri Markkanen to have the breakout he had on the Utah Jazz if Utah Jazz if he's on the Cavaliers. Clearly not, obviously not. But he could have been that stretch big that you need. You could have Evan Mobley at the 4 or 5, whatever you want to put him at, and the defensive drop off wouldn't have been crazy. The offense would probably be significantly better. They just have to use him. Like obviously Will Hardy is using him in off ball actions, and he's putting the ball in his hands. You've seen like Lauri Markkanen improve as a ball handler too. So obviously he wouldn't have made that big of a jump, but he could have been like 16 points per game. Like he was like 14, I believe, before he left.
14, like 13, 14, 15.
He could be between 16 and 18.
My thing. One is you talking about one extra bucket, maybe 2 extra buckets. You could have that if like you're not the fourth guy. He wouldn't be the fourth guy on the cast. He'll probably be the third guy offensively, and that'd be cool. Like he looks like that a lot on nights. The way he gets the ball and the way he scores doesn't really interrupt what a lot of players on the team do. Because Jordan Clarkson is a ball handler. He's going out there trying to get a bucket, and he's worked with him. Like it's not. I don't think it's hard to incorporate Lauri Markkanen into your plans in terms of offense.
I agree with that. I think like we would be looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers' future like with a lot more like promise if they didn't do the Donovan Mitchell trade. And that's crazy because at this point we don't think Donovan Mitchell was going to stay. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to be in New York, and he's been professional about it. I don't think he's like miserable in Cleveland. Like who really wants to be in Cleveland? That city outside of like LeBron, nobody wants to be there. So we would be looking at it. They still had Lauri Markkanen, and then I think having that stretch big next to him, we could have seen a potential breakout from Evan Mobley in year 2 offensively. That's what everybody was expecting. After he was in a contention for Rookie of the Year in his first year, so I think just looking back on that would have been major for them. Like we said, not even needing Lauri Markkanen to be what he is in Utah. So do you have one breakout player for this team? I can't hear you. I think you might mute yourself.
It should be Evan Mobley, like you said, on offense specifically. He has to, go out there and do some things. I think for the sake of being in contract year, that he's gonna actually go out there and try to do some things this year. Probably get up to like 18 points per game, still give you, top of the league defense. Prove that he was, worth the draft status, worth the money, worth his status on the team, especially like with the Donovan Mitchell thing looming. If you could pay him and not have if he makes that big jump, you could potentially be fine moving off of Donovan Mitchell. Hopefully trade him early for assets. Try to recoup what you lost, especially like with a team like Miami. You could try, get them there and get a lot back from them or in the 3-teamer. It's just everything with this team relies on Evan Mobley. Like we kind of know what Darius Garland is. He still has some jumps to make. It's only so many jumps he's gonna make with Donovan Mitchell also in the backcourt sharing touches. So yeah, it's gonna be Evan Mobley.
Yeah, it has to be the only option. Evan Mobley had to see some type of growth for him in a half court set with a like we said, pull up game, face up game, fadeaway game, hook game, something. He got to get something. It's like when we do these season previews, it's not going to be a breakout play for every team. It's not going to be a lot of additions, losses for every team. That's just the preset we have. We don't got to stick to that. But yeah, Evan Mobley is probably the only breakout candidate for this Cavs team. And now we can get to their over/under win total. I think they have it at 50.5. Last year won 51 games. I think possibly they can win like 52, 50, 53 because you think about it, the Sixers, pending this James Harden situation could potentially get worse, and they could move up to that 3 seed, be the third best team up in the East. That's a possibility for them. And I think if we see that breakout from Evan Mobley, they'll get better in the regular season. So I just want to be one of those great regular season teams, great regular season defenses. Hopefully they half offense can improve. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over with their win total.
I think 50 is like 50 is like the right number. But just for sake of like, what we've seen already, I think they could get that fit over is cool. I'm not gonna say a crazy over like 55, wins, but 51, 52 is right there. I mean, a lot of the teams that in their area, like the Knicks and stuff like that, they also didn't get, drastically better. So they're probably in the same position they were in last year. Like clearly that fourth, fifth, sixth team in the East, outside of that top 3. So yeah, 50, I'm gonna go over.
All right, the next team we got here is the Bulls. Now I am from Chicago. I wish we have Jaden and Max here because they're Chicago Bulls fans, and I think Q, don't you like the Bulls too, or no? Am I tripping?
I like DeMar DeRozan. I don't like the Bulls, but I like DeMar. Okay. I like Lonzo also, but he doesn't really play. But I really just be there for DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine trade storylines and stuff like that.
Okay, additions they had Javon Carter and Torrey Craig. Not much happening over there at the Bulls. I don't know why they continue to sign guards. They have like 4 of them on the roster. Then they also they lost Derrick Jones, which is not a crazy loss. This is basically the same team from last year, honestly. Not much change. Same coaching staff, everything is like that. They re-signed Nikola Vucevic, which honestly is not that bad of a contract because like the money they're paying him is not crazy. I just don't know why they committed to him long term, honestly. Which is we're gonna get into. Not much additions and losses to talk about. We're gonna get into the main storyline. DeMar DeRozan is on an expiring contract. Do you look to move him at the deadline, or do you just ride this year out?
From all the reports, they are going on his last run, but that's only gonna be until they see that there's like if they go through the whole up to trade deadline and it doesn't look like they're gonna really be making any noise because Milwaukee's that dominant, Boston's that dominant. They still can't beat Philly with Joel Embiid. Cleveland being what they are as a regular season team that could get 50 wins that we see in the Knicks. They're probably going to be, in the playing-ish area, around trade deadline. It's like, why push? You might as well just sell down and restart this thing. DeMar, you can probably still, like right now, you can probably still get a first for him or, enough like young players and draft capital trying to, restart this thing softly. I'd sell. They should have sold. For me, they should have sold him last year, but it's definitely the year something, especially on the expiring.
Yeah, I'm not with this last run thing. This is not like the
was
Michael
no real
Jordan team.
Like it was real first run.
I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Like this is not the last dance. It's not Michael Jordan. This is not that Bulls team. I don't know what they mean about last run. Like the last 2 seasons have been miserable. Like this is y'all should have been gave up on this experiment. Y'all should have been traded Zach LaVine probably to the Knicks or somebody. Like you should have traded DeMar DeRozan last year. You shouldn't have re-signed Vucevic for the time you signed him for. This Bulls team is literally the epitome of mediocre, and they will not pick a direction. Are you trying to contend? Are you trying to sell? Like they just need to rebuild it, scrap it, restart over and over again. Like I don't, and it's pretty sad because we saw like 3 bad years of them being terrible. And then they try to bring this big 3 in of DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, and Zach LaVine. They have a good start to the regular season. They were like the first seed in the East for a substantial amount of time, and then Lonzo goes down, and then
that's the issue.
That's what
made them. That's what made them like kind of get stuck in a way because they seen what the team could be or what it was looking like with a fully healthy, squad. Lonzo out there, Caruso out there, Zach LaVine, DeMar, Vucevic, whatever we want to say about Vucevic. he still puts up the numbers to make you think that he's a very starting caliber center in the league. It's hard to scoff at like 18 and 10, whatever he's been putting up. He's been an all-star before. But with Lonzo, this team, Lonzo and Caruso, that was a great defensive backcourt. They won a lot of games, and his injury just kind of derailed everything. And it's like, since they're not getting him back, for a fact you're not getting him back. Why run? Why make this last run? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't like make sense to me, and I don't think like there's nothing that you go tell me to make me believe that this is the proper thing to do. Sometimes you just got to get out early before it's too late, and you lose DeMar for nothing. Vucevic, we're signing him as cool and all that. He might just be a trade piece, down the line, like a year or two from now. Same thing with Zach. Zach's still young enough, but you could also get a lot for Zach and just, blow that thing up. Caruso, just sell at trade down. You might as well sell everything. Let Kobe White go out there and ball, do his thing, and it's whatever. Like you said, the epitome of mid. Like, it's not cool to be. Like, Oklahoma is like 37 games. That's not really doing much for me. It ain't doing much for them.
It's not doing much for the franchise, for the fans either. Like they like I said, they had that 3 or 4 year stretch where they were terrible. They come out of that, they get Zach, they get Vucevic and then DeMar DeRozan, and then they had that great start to the season. Lonzo goes down, and it all goes to shit. So it's like it's kind of crazy. I can kind of feel it to a certain extent because like you don't want to go back to that poverty. You don't want to go back to the bottom of the league thing, but it's probably better than being in the middle where you can you don't like that Vucevic trade is looking worse and worse by the day. What they get Franz out of there, Jet Howard, a lot more pieces. So I don't know, man. At some point, you gotta give it up and stop clinging on to this hope because it's literally no hope. You're at the base case scenario. You're a 7th, 8th seed, losing in the first round to the Bucks or the Celtics. So that's where your ceiling is right now. And that gotta be frustrating as a Bulls fan, especially after Michael Jordan and that brief moment with Derrick Rose. Not really a Bulls fan, but I feel for my city watching this team be terrible every single year. It has to be terrible as a fan. Do you have a breakout player for this team?
It should be Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams should break out because he should get the touches. He should get into like if I think they're gonna sell on DeMar DeRozan, I think he should get whatever minutes, whatever touches DeMar DeRozan is getting. There was some stats that I was looking, but like small sample size that he was like fishing from shooting threes and scoring at the basket. You need to try to look to expand that because you drafted him high. Well, he was like a 4th pick, 5th pick. You got to see what he is. Like you got to see what he is. You got to see if he can defend at this high level. At a high level, you got to see if he can score and fit into this into an offense. Between him, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, whoever you keeping, Patrick Williams has to be a part of this plan. So I think he should break out this year. Not a crazy breakout like 25 points, but like somewhere like 15, 16 on like respectable efficiency.
Yeah, Patrick Williams is my breakout player too. He just hasn't got the opportunity. He's had the opportunity as far as minutes, but when you're playing behind Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, and then LaVine, as far as like touches and opportunities to shoot, you won't get a chance to really properly develop. Last season we saw he was a great catch and shoot 3-point shooter, especially from the corner. He's a good mid-range shooter on his limited attempts. He's still a good defender, so I think he has some upside still. He's still about 21, 22. He was really young coming into the draft. But in college, he was a 6th man, so I know it was gonna take some actual progression, some coaching for him to actually break out into what he can be. I don't think it'd be a crazy breakout either. But if they do go and sell LaVine and DeRozan by the deadline, he's gonna have that opportunity. I think they should just rebuild and see what you have in Kobe White and Patrick Williams this year. I think that should be the moves. They just signed Kobe White to Ascension, and last season he showed flashes towards the end of the season, especially after they acquired Patrick Beverly. So I think they should just see what they have in Patrick Williams. You always got to see. You draft him 4th overall. You got to see what you have. You owe that to yourself as an organization. The over/under win total is I think 37.5, which is really spot on. That's what they're going to be right at. About 37 wins.
Yeah, I'm going under. I think they win by 36, 37, and that's it. You can try to win more games anyway.
Yep. Hopefully they lose. They actually lose more than I think they had a pick this year. I'm pretty sure they might have their pick this year.
Either they have their pick this year or they was trying to get their pick back.
Or
No,
they might have Portland's pick.
They have Portland pick because Portland
Yeah,
wanted
they
to
got
try and get
Portland
their
pick.
pick back from them with the Drew Holiday trade. So they have Portland's pick, which should be a good pick. I don't think we think Portland's going to be a top 8 team in the West. They should be picking in that top 10 against still top 12, and that should help Chicago because the next couple of drafts. Well, the next draft is not super deep, but it's it's deep enough that you could get somebody of value at 12.
I think they'd be right around 37, maybe 38, but I'm gonna go under as well. Probably gonna be like back in 10 seed. But that's still they could be from 10 anywhere from 10 to like 7, and that won't surprise me. If they make the play in, it won't surprise me. Last year, what they almost made the playoffs last year. I think they won that.
Just
They
barely.
won. Yeah, they lost to Miami. But next team we got here on here is the Pacers, second to last team. A lot of people are expecting a jump from this team. Over the offseason, we were hearing top 60 playoff team. I think got to cool down on that a little bit. I think they can make the playoffs. They were a 60 before Tyrese Halliburton went down, but it is only a 20-game sample size. The competition wasn't great in that span either. But additions, this is one of the only teams that we talk about their additions really. Bruce Brown, Obi Toppin, Jarius Walker, Ben Shepherd as well in the draft. And they lost Chris Duarte and O'Shea Brissett, so not really nothing crazy. What do you think of their additions? Bruce Brown obviously has that championship pedigree. He's going to be able to, provide them defense and spot up shooting, a little bit of playmaking as well. They got Obi Toppin, who some people think he can be a MIP candidate this year, especially playing alongside Tyrese Halliburton. And then we know what Jarace Walker can be coming out of the draft. What do you think of their additions?
I think they got additions at positions of need. They were missing a wing or wings / forwards. They got Bruce Brown. We know he is. I don't think he's like the biggest needle mover, but he fits right into the team. Like he's energy, defense, athletic. He get out there, especially with fast breaks. He's gonna do a lot of dirty work. Obi Toppin, I'm not a big Obi Toppin fan. A lot of people think he's gonna be this and that, but I watch him in New York. He only breaks out, like he only does things like within the flow of like playing bad teams. He gets a lot of shots, a lot of fast breaks. That's cool. He should be a great partner for Tyrese Halliburton on fast breaks. He's a lob threat, obviously. He can shoot the corner three. Jarace Walker, that's like the I don't know what's the word, but like he's like that play that he might be like just what they needed. Like I think he could get a lot more minutes of Obi Toppin if he just like continues to progress because of his skill set. He could defend, he could shoot, he could pass. I think he slots right in at the 3 or 4 for them. Like a lineup of him, Bruce Brown, Tyrese, Miles Turner, and insert whoever. Let's say Ben Mathurin. I think they can run teams off the floor. Chris Duarte, like losing Chris Duarte and O'Shea Brissett doesn't really move much to me because I think Chris Duarte, like he's older, he's already what he's gonna be. O'Shea Brissett.
They got Andrew Nembhard. You get what the same thing with him.
Exactly. Andrew Nembhard, he should be one of this year. He probably should be one of the better backup point guards in the league. We've seen him, in spots starting last year, especially that game against the Warriors when he went crazy, got the dub. So I think like this team, like they should have their eyes set on the playoffs or at least trying to make the playoffs. They're gonna make at least a play-in, I believe. But yeah, they do still have to calm down and talk.
What?
Yeah, they gotta but they gotta the crazy playoff expectation. They gotta let's calm it down a little bit. But they definitely have a roster to try to compete. Tyrese Halliburton is a top 10-ish point guard. So I look to them and be at least a 10th seed, 9th seed, and we're gonna just see from there. I don't think it's their time yet, but they're knocking on the door.
Yeah, so I don't think it's their. I could see them being like a playing team, like a 7 seed, possibly getting into the 7th or 8th seed. That's possible. Well, I think Tyrese Halliburton might take another step. I don't think his development is done. He could possibly continue to break out and average more points. He has to develop more as a self creator. A lot of his points come off, in the pick and roll and catch and shoot, like step back threes. Like he can get to the basket. He has a decent game. But I like the addition of Bruce Brown. He's going to do everything you need him to do. Obi Toppin is he's cool. I don't think he should be the long-term starter, especially not a future. But Jarius Walker, love his game. I think, like you said, he's exactly what they needed at that fourth spot. He can be a connector piece. He's a good passer. He's going to be a good defender. I think his jump shot has a way to go, but he's going to be able to knock it down.
I think I just think about said good shoot. I think it's good enough. Like I think it's good enough that he's going to stay on the floor.
Yeah, but what Jarace Walker was coming out, like the allure of him, what drew people in was what he can be as a passer in a flow of offense. He's a really good connector piece, and his playmaking is an underrated part of his game. Losing Chris Duarte, Brissett don't move me either. Major storylines for this team is a playoff jump, possibly. I wouldn't predict it this season, but actually, they can make the playoffs, but I don't think it'd be like a top 6 seed lock. I can see them being a 7th or 8th seed. I mean, I don't think them being the better than Bulls or Raptors is not crazy at all. We see what them teams, and those teams might be selling by the time the trade deadline comes. And then they have the looming like the elephant in the room. Buddy Hield cannot the organization and Buddy Hield could not come into agreement on a extension, so they told him he can go out and look for trades. He has been playing in the preseason, so he's been a professional about it. But what kind of package do you think they will get back for Buddy Hield?
He's best suited on contending teams. I mean, he's a shooter. Good efficiency. He's not like a defender or anything, but he's like a plug and play guy. Based off like what you put up, you could probably look to try and fetch a first. But if somebody offers you a bunch of seconds, I'd take a couple of seconds, 2-3 seconds for a player like Buddy Hield. If I'm like Dallas or whatnot, maybe if it's probably not going to be each team, it'll probably be in the West. But you could definitely, at the highest, you probably get a first. But you're at least going to get 2-3 seconds, and I think that's good enough for Buddy Hield, who's going to shoot the lights out. He's one of the best shooters in the past. Like since getting drafted, he's been one of the best shooters in the league, and that fits on any playoff scheme, especially when things get tight. You need somebody to knock something down off a catch and shoot, come off a screen, something quick jump, quick spark. He's consistent enough that he fits in anywhere. So yeah, look to try and at least get 3 seconds. Don't be greedy.
Probably like 2 or 3 seconds, or one first round pick would definitely do it, especially if a contender is by the deadline is in need of a shooter. He'll be able to help them. But I also think you just drafted Ben Shepherd, who is a great shooter. He's not going to be Buddy Hield. Yeah, he's not going to be Buddy Hield his first season, but he can come in the future and be a sniper. You got Benedict Mather, who you can insert into the starting lineup, and you'll want to see another breakout, or he possibly could be like a most improved player, 6 man of the year candidate. So a breakout from Benedict Mathurin wouldn't be too crazy. So you can insert him in the starting lineup where he came off the bench last season. Their over-under win total, though, is 38.5. So I think they go over. I think they can get 39, 40 wins, be about 40 and 41. That's not crazy. 41 and 41 is not crazy. I think this team can be a 7th or 8th seed. I think that's their ceiling. So I'm going to predict that they're going to be better than the Bulls and Raptors this season. So that's my prediction for this team. I'm going to go over on their win total.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. I think they can get 40 wins. If 40 wins for them is a great season, good enough season, that puts them right in the middle of the anywhere from the 7th seed to the 10th seed, because that part of the East should be like pretty congested. It should be fighting for wins around their time, fighting for position, playing status, whatnot. So yeah, 40 wins should give them, put them good enough. Even if they just miss out slightly, 40 wins should still be like a good season for them. So I'm gonna go 40.
Okay. Yeah, and then we got a breakout player. The only real options right now are Jarius, probably Obi, and then Benedict. I'm gonna take Jarius just because I think, like you said, he'll take Obi Toppin's minutes not early into the season, but probably about the halfway point of the season, because he's gonna be able to bring more as a connector piece, more as a defender. I think the Obi he's gonna be better. I think he's day one. He's gonna be a better defender than Obi Toppin. And the shooting will be pretty much similar, honestly. Like Obi shot 34% from 3 off the catch last year, so it's not like he's a crazy shooter. I think so. My breakout player is gonna be Jarius Walker.
That was mine, but I totally forgot about Benedict Mathurin. I didn't like his game a lot because he's not a playmaker for real, but I think him being like a 6 man he'll be able to play exactly how he plays, how he wants to as that 6 man. Go out there, light it up, throw up the point, throw up the threes and whatnot, try to get to the basket, which like it kind of is an issue. And he should be able to, like, his second year, get bigger, stronger, get a little bit smarter, get a little bit more efficient. I think he should be like an 18-point per game guy for them. And so he's gonna be my breakout. But Jarris, like I said, I always thought Jarris should probably take Obi Toppin's minutes at least by like January. Like he should, just because he has a better skill set. Should be the better player by January. So it can go either way, but I'm going with Ben just to be different.
I'm really not high on Ben Matthew at all. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's not.
I don't. He scores, but it's not efficient. And he doesn't play make. But there's places and there's times for people like that, like Caris LeVert. He's almost the same type of dude. Like he's gonna go out there and try to put up a bunch of points, and that will help them in certain situations, especially with the minutes where Tyrese is not on the floor. You got somebody that can just go out there and get a bucket. Even though Andrew Nembhard is there, you're going to need that person to pass to, and he's going to be a guy that's going to go out there and try to get a bucket, force the defense to collapse. Hopefully he takes a small playmaker jump. He starts hitting everybody else, and that'll make him look a lot better than what he actually is.
Yeah, and then I don't know how good he impacts the game on the defense end either. So I'm just really not high on Benedict Mather. Let's get into our Pistons, man. I was excited for this team last season. I'm not gonna lie. I really thought the breakout was coming. They signed Alec Burks. They brought in a lot of vets. The thought of this team that could potentially take a jump last season. I thought it was last season. I thought Ivy could come in and be a contributor, which he was. But then we saw Cade get hurt 12 games into the season, and that's what really ended it. Honestly. So they got Sir Thompson was probably their biggest addition through a draft. He's been playing well in the preseason. I understand the pick. I didn't understand the pick at first, honestly. I wanted them to go to Jarris, honestly, at first, because I think Asura could be a connected piece too. He's a good playmaker. He's an okay playmaker. He's a great perimeter defender. His jump shot has a long way to go. I think they need more spacing around Cade, and that's going to be a big topic with this team. They need more spacing. Cade has the potential to be one of the best playmakers in the entire NBA. They need more spacing around this team. They brought in Monte Morris, who's a great vet, is a good backup point guard, could be a starting point guard on some teams. Joe Harris is a shooter. He's supposed to be a shooter. They got Marcus Sasser as well, who is a bucket. This was all I don't think he's scrappy on defense, so he'll compete. And then all they really lost is Corey Joseph. So not much to talk about in the additions losses part, but Sir Thompson, we can talk about him for a little bit. He has the potential to be an elite perimeter defender. He's going to be very switchable. He's going to be a transition nightmare. I think in the flow of offense, he can be a connector piece. But his jump shot is the only concern I really have for him as a player. But his work ethic is insane. We've seen that. I saw like a tweet of him in the gym a long time after practice ended. I think him and Amin just both love basketball. They're very dedicated. So I'm very confident in his development and what he'll be able to be in the NBA because they want it. They're driven. They have the physical tools. They're very athletic. So I don't think Jarris would have been a bad pick, but I'm not mad at the Sir Thompson pick because what he can be. You always go for the potential. I think his potential is probably higher than what Jarris is, and this team needs a lot. So of course it needs shooting. But you always like as a rebuilding team, you go for upside, and so I'm not mad at the pick.
Yeah, another addition.
What do you think?
Monty Williams.
Monty Williams. Yeah, of course.
You pretty much got we on the same page with the team in terms of like what they needed and what they got. Like you said, Jarris probably could have been a pick because he slots right in, at the 4. I don't think they really needed a 3. But sometimes, like you said, you go for the upside, especially that high. Like you always go for the boom or bust pick. Monte Morris, like you said, vet, he could shoot. Joe Harris looks like he could shoot. I mean, he's been streaky, especially.
And he froze, I think. Connection went out. I'm gonna see if I can get him back. Yo, Q.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went out.
Oh. Am I back? Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, you back.
I say, yeah, if Cade is healthy, as we see like in the off season and stuff like that, he should be able to play make. Ivy, depending whether he's on the bench or he's starting, he should be able to take strides. He has been taking strides, trying to become a better catch and shoot, player, especially with Cade. The Cade and Jalen Duran pick and roll combo, that should be something to watch this the season. With Monty Williams as the coach, he's a great motivator. DeAndre Ayton aside, he works well. Everybody loves him. I don't think Dwayne Casey really wants to be there anymore. He really got sent there on some, we're done with you. They just kind of left him there to die. This team needed a coach to believe in them. They got the players. It's really like a developmental. Like we just looking for the development. Cade to be healthy. That's when we're really gonna see what this team could be. I ain't really like Cody Joseph, so they really pretty much upgraded everywhere. The only thing is, they got 4 big men, and they're paying Stewart. I'm not gonna say it's a lot of money, but it's a lot of money for a team that doesn't really need to be spending money on players right now. So we're just looking for them to get better and stay healthy.
Yeah, I think they definitely need like this starting lineup. They need to build the correct amount of spacing around Cade to maximize him as a scorer and a playmaker. We've seen Cade struggle in efficiency in his first 2 seasons. I think though he has the tools. He can get to the basket. You cannot speed up Cade. He just needs to develop that in between game, and his pull up shooting is a concern right now. But I just want to see development from everybody. I've seen in these first preseason games, Ivy has taken a lot more catch shoot threes, and he's been knocking them down. So that's great to see. That's going to be have him able to play alongside Cade. They're like the opposite of each other. Ivy is very fast, and he has like a lot of athleticism, where Cade is not like that. He's like very patient, and you can't really speed him up. Ivy is like a little bit chaotic, which I think in transition and in high court set can be very beneficial if he can grow as a cutter. And if he can grow as a off-ball player, this team is going to benefit from that. I want to see from Asar development with his jump shot, just be a great defender and a great rebounder and a great playmaker. And for the second unit. And with Monte Morris running the second unit, I'm very confident that Asar can do that. Now, Isaiah Stewart was not a fan of the contract at all. Was it 4 years, $64 million?
Yeah, so he getting 16. He getting 16 a year, I think.
Yep, 15 a year, basically, 15 a year. So it's like I wasn't a fan of that because you have I don't know why they traded for Wiseman. They have Bagley and they got Duran. I think at that 4th spot they need someone that can defend and stretch the floor. I think Stewart can defend, but he's not like a great defender. And we've seen him early in the preseason be shooting threes. I don't want him doing that. Like they're not going to go.
They're trying to get him accustomed to playing like that because they know they have Asar, and they know space is an issue. They're trying to make it easier for that Cade and Durant pick and roll game to work. So they need at least 2 players to stand outside on the wing / corner. So I think they're trying to build that philosophy, trying to get him better at that. I just don't think I'm not gonna say he's not gonna be good enough to do it, but right now, it's yet to be seen that he could be a reliable 3-point shooter out there. Just because you're taking the shots don't mean they're gonna go in. But everything like I said, everything is predicated really on Cade and what he can do on the floor, and that just means you need shooting, you need cutters. Asar Thompson, he should be most of his buckets. You're gonna see him get out of the dunker spot or dumps off his everything transition. I don't think you're going to be able to really run sets for Asar early. But, if you could run a proper pick and roll, him as a cutter, late in the shot clock, you probably get a bucket off him. Stewart, I think they can move off of him. Maybe not this year, but definitely next year because the contract is, for them, I don't think it's bad, but, it's not bad enough that you can't move it. Somebody's going to take a chance on him somewhere. I just don't think they needed to pay him. And, you're right, they got a bunch of bigs. A bunch of bigs.
And they traded for James. What did they trade? They gave a second for James Wiseman or 3 seconds for James Wiseman last season. I didn't get that move either. Like James Wiseman, I'm out on him. I really think he's not good, but he's not good for the NBA. He's playing well in the preseason. I see it, but like he's really not like a great defender. He's not a great defender. Honestly, I'm not even going to sugarcoat. He's not a great defender. His mid range game is His efficiency for center is not good. Or four, they tend to have him in space four as well. Can't really shoot. Not a great screener. Not a great rebounder either. So like he's like he'll give you like 14 and 10, but it's gonna be the worst 14 and 10 you've ever seen. It's gonna be an inefficient 14 and 10, not impactful 14 and 10. So it's been supposedly a battle between Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman, and it's a battle of two players that I'm not very high on. So I think what they have right now, their core is really right now Asur, K, Ivy, Doran. Those are four players I'm excited about going into the future. I like that young core. Bogdan, I'm tripping, but he's a good piece. He's a great player, but he can be moved to contender, someone that can use him, get some picks back from. Even though he's one of the only shooters on the team. Joe Harris is Joe Harris. But outside of those four, anyone here is not safe. Like y'all can be traded at any time. They need to prioritize development of K, Ivy, Doran, and Asur. This is the core. I want to see K take a step. He needs to take a step. We saw him struggle in his rookie year, get injured a little bit. No, he didn't get injured in his rookie year. We saw him struggling in his rookie year.
No, he got injured rookie year, but like it wasn't like a serious.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy.
Like, he was out for like 5 games.
No, I think he was like 70. Oh, he might have missed like I think he played 70 something.
But he came after the injury. He came back strong. Like he came back in a push for rookie of the year. So it's not like he didn't play well.
He had a slow start. He had a slow start to his rookie year, picked it back up, and then he had a okay start to his second sophomore season, and then got injured. So we need to see Cade. You need to see that jump. I need to see that jump. I need it because I'm a Cade fan. That's one of my favorite players in the NBA. He looked great in Team USA. He's looking good over in the preseason so far, and I want to see him be able to be an offensive hub and just can every play had a ball in his hands, have him create for his team. I saw like watching the USA scrimmages. It's up on the channel. I was watching it. You seen him consistently be able to make great decisions out of the pick and roll, and him and Durant has so much chemistry now. He's gonna be able to hit him in the mid range, hit him on lives, hit him, dive into the basket, hit the corner, hit the wing. He has the mental capacity, the IQ to do that. So they need to put shooting around them and just let this team develop. Their over under win total is 28.5. They can potentially get 30 wins. I'm gonna go over though. I think they can get 30. I think they can possibly get 30. I'm gonna go over on that 28.5.
I'm gonna go over too, and that's strictly based on I know I'm jumping ahead, but Cade should be the breakout player for this team. If he can stay healthy, if I can get 65 games out of Cade, he should be the breakout player because he should be averaging at least 18 points. He gonna probably get around 4.
I don't want 18, bro. I want 18, bro. I don't want 18. He averaged 19 last year.
You want like 22?
22 to 24. I want 22 to 24, and I want 8 assists. 24 and 8.
Listen, if he's healthy and plays 65 games, I'll take the 18 on good efficiency. Give me 5 rebounds, give me 8 assists. If you give me that and just be on the court, I'm good with that. That's enough of a breakout for me because now I want to be able to see that you can stay on the court. That's the issue right now. But before anything else, stay on the court and then just give me what you was giving me with a little bit more efficiency. It's a better coaching, a slightly better team. There's no real spacing, but we're usually gonna have to work on that. If you could give me 21, up, yeah, give me 20. Like I'm talking all-star. Give me all-star. You're a big guard, and I like big guards. It's hard to get a big guard off his spots. It's hard to dictate where they're gonna go. He's not Luka, but think about Luka. Luka's a big guard. He gets to where he wants. You can't really force him to speed up or make him do something that he doesn't want to do. Cade is kind of the same way. You can't force him to do anything that he doesn't really want to do. He's gonna do what he wants. Get there, slow, fast. Whatever he has to do, gets you in the post. In the mid-range, area, he can able to create. He can make any pass. If he can get the pull-up going, he should be fine. If he gets that pull-up, decent, he should be around 20 points a game.
Yeah, I want to see Cade's my breakout player too. Maybe Cade or Ivy, but I want to see about 22. I think he averaged 19 last year, about 19-6. So I want to see about 22-8. I want to see him stay healthy for the entire season. I want to see some steps from Ivy or Sword during anybody else I really don't care about. I want to see a step from this team, not in the wins column, but just as far as the team developing, similar to what we've seen from like the Magic last season. I want to see them be competitive in games. This team was one of the worst defensive teams and offensive teams last year. I want to see them improve on that as well. I don't think the offensive things is going to be better just because, like I said, they have a lack of spacing in the front court. I mean, in the starting lineup. So that was our Central Division season preview. It's a little bit shorter than the other ones just because we only have two people, about 30 minutes shorter than what it will usually be. But I'm glad we got the third one done. We got three more divisions to get done before the season starts, and then we're going to get into our predictions and awards and stuff like that. So that's going to be really the end of it. If you made this far, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video. We always want to get feedback, and if you disagree with anything we said, let us know. Follow our social media as well. And we're going to be out. I have work like hours, so I do have to get going. All right.